Hello everyone and welcome to Demystifying Change. I'm Sandeep Aujla and today we will be looking at one creative way to make sure that your change sticks long after you have completed the change implementation plan. Instead of looking at your single change initiative, can we look at change from the perspective of the entire system? So you introduced a change in technology, policy, culture, and what implications it had for everything else that already existed in the organization. Typically, when clients call me, it's because they implemented a change and then noticed that people are not consistently either adopting or demonstrating the behaviors that were part of that change. So when we look at those events as a single event, we almost end up reacting with a solution that acts as a band-aid as compared to a long-term solution. Because what we're really fixing there are symptoms. So may I invite you to think about a layer deeper. Can you start identifying patterns of when these events are occurring? Because when you look at patterns over time, now you can anticipate when the next occurrence will be. So when you watch that anomalous behavior, or you watch the people are creating their own ways to bypass the expectations that you have around the new policy or technology, you start now seeing a pattern of when those events are occurring. And that's when you design a solution that will have a lasting impact. If you want true transformation, such that you don't want to keep fixing this issue of poor adoption or inconsistent adoption of that change, that's when you start looking at the system, the mindset level issues, things around people's beliefs and values. And what are those beliefs that are shaping the expectations, that are translating into the behavior that may at surface seem like resistance or lack of memory because people forgot the process? But those are beliefs that are guiding their actual actions that seem and create the inconsistencies in terms of the adoption of change. So let me give you an example of how that actually manifested. One of the organizations I worked with created a new organizational strategy where one of the key strategic initiatives was going to make sure there was equitable access of professional development for all employees in the organization. So before they implemented the organizational strategy, every department managed their own funds, and nobody really dictated or interfered who was getting professional development, who was completing mandatory training, who was accessing resources for conferences, and so on and so forth. So as a result, the centralization led to a corporate learning department that became responsible for managing all of that process to ensure equity. Once the process was implemented with really solid communication plan, time for people to learn the new process, patience to make sure that they actually were following the rules, even after 6 months of going through the process, there were these inconsistencies of random people across different departments that were really, really resistant about the changes. They said it was too difficult, it was too time consuming, all the things that either were about, I don't understand why this is important, to I don't understand how this needs to be done. So at first instance, when you look at that, it seems quite disjointed. Well, typically, we do expect people to resist change. We do expect that some people may take longer to adopt the change. But when we started noticing that this was quite specific to individuals that in the past had a disproportionate access of funds for, they took initiative to go to conferences that would advance their career. They were taking initiative to go for professional development courses that extended beyond their mandatory requirements. So these people had a belief that because they were taking initiative way more than their peers, that they deserved to be supported by the organization. And it was not until we addressed this belief that we were actually able to make sure that they understood what it meant for the organization to equitably support every employee. This was the power of seeing the leverage that comes when you make sure that you know at which level should you intervene. Sometimes a surface level solution works, but lasting change very often requires change of mindset and mental models. These are things people have grown up with for a very long time. So I invite you that the next time you see anomaly to your change adoption, consider this model and see at what point the problem may be occurring. And I'm hopeful that once you start looking at patterns, not only will you be able to anticipate when these anomalies will occur, but you will be able to identify deeper issues that may be leading to these behaviors. I hope you found this useful. If you know anyone else who is struggling with making change stick, please share this video with them. If you have any follow-up questions, I welcome to explore them with you. Please contact me at the email address below. Thank you so much for dedicating your time to building a stronger toolkit.